If you have any questions, please just press *6 on your phone and unmute yourself and ask whatever you need to. What we're going to do today is we're going to run through Presentation Builder. I think if you've been working with the software for any period of time, you probably have already used this in order to brand the report output. This is very straightforward, but what we'll also do today is we'll talk a little bit more about tags, and they're a little more complex, of course. So when it comes to report settings, if you run Presentation Builder and you're on the Report Settings tab, and then just work your way through the various sub-tabs, I think you'll find that this is extremely straightforward. So you can see, for example, for the text color on the home page of the report, I've chosen this darker blue and put it in. Also, you can change the name of the plan for a financial plan or retirement and estate plan. And I want you to notice, just for the cover page only, at the bottom there are VisionWorks, CorpWorks, and TrustWorks tabs. So these allow you to change the title for a CorpWorks and TrustWorks plan as well. Other than that, it's relatively straightforward. You can add a logo if you wish here, or if we go to the cover page logos, you can see where you can add up to 2 logos, and you can also add a sidebar. So it's just a matter of clicking the change button, locating wherever you have that logo on your computer, and then just adding it in. When it comes to titles, these are the section titles in the report, and notice that the text selection is being used. The title bar selection would insert a bar, and then the text would be within that bar, and then you can, as you can see down here, change the border color, the background color, and the text color. So I could make this, for example, white on the lighter blue background. I'm going to use the text option. And notice also you can do things like control the font and the point size and whether it's bold and so on. When it comes to headers and footers, there are lots of options, whether you want lines, a text color, etc. You can just go through whether you have page numbers turned on and so on. So these are fairly straightforward. One of the things that's unfortunate is all of these, or one of the things I want to bring to your attention is that all of these different elements are individually controlled, so that the color you use here has its own color palette. If we go down to titles, they have their own color palette. If we go to headers and footers, the text and line colors, each one has their own color palette, so that you can have, black in one place, color in another, etc. But it just means, unfortunately, that if you want to add a custom color, that literally you're going to have to create that custom color for each of these individual elements. If we go to text blocks, again, the text block, the main text in the plan, you can set the font, the point size, the color, if you wish. And then if you look at tables, so we can see a table over here, the header color, the white text on the background, and then you can put in a subheader bar color. You can see the gray behind assets, subheader text color, and so on. And then I also want you to notice that for the lines in the table, I've made them a lighter gray, just not as harsh as let's say, black lines in a table. And then again, table text, alternating rows, etc. When it comes to graphs, you have control of those. So you may notice, for instance, here that I don't have a y-axis or an x-axis line. I prefer to get rid of those, but if you want, you could add some color to those lines. And then again, you can see that the inner lines of the table are gray just to soften them up a little bit. So I'm just going to make these axis lines white, and then they won't show on the white background. Donut graphs, again, you can control the colors for those. There are graphics in the report, and if you choose to use the pages where there are graphics, you can change the colors again so that they are branded and match the general color scheme. The one other thing that I just want to point out is the first time you do a plan, the name on the front will actually be the name of the first client that you deal with. And then what you'll need to do is click the edit button, and then you can go in, put in your name, your credentials, company name, other contact information, etc. And it's also important to notice that you can have a number of these, so that if you do have a couple of advisors doing plans, then each one can have their own profile. The one other thing that I'll just mention is whenever you make changes and save those, when you save this to a file as a VSR, Vision Systems Report Settings file, so once you've got that created in your general color scheme, what you can do with that saved file is send it to a different computer that you use or an assistant who might be printing reports, and then all the assistant or all you need to do on the other computer is just click the load button, locate that VSR file, and then load it in. So you just need to set these color schemes, etc., up on one computer, save the file, and then you can share that with other computers or other advisors. So branding in the sense of the report is fairly straightforward. When you set this up, whatever you choose will be used in VisionWorks, CorpWorks, and TrustWorks plans. So you don't have to do it for each of them, only once, and then it'll be used across the board. So if anybody has any questions, would you please press *6, unmute, and then you can ask whatever you wish. I think you'll find this is pretty straightforward, though, to work with. Anybody with any questions?
Michael,
Yes.
it's Jeff.
Yes.
If we have a particular color from a logo with the values for red, blue, green, or whatever the values
Yes.
are we able to input that somewhere?
Yeah, that's wherever you see one of these color palettes. Let's just go to titles. So let's say that you've got a green color, for instance, and you want the headings to be green. Then what you're going to do, you can see this is the title text color. Then you're going to open it up, and here you have the standard color set. What you'll need to do is click More Colors, and then under the RGB, you can put in whatever you wish, and then you click Add to Custom Colors. That'll create a chip. You select the chip, click OK, and then that's what will be used in that color palette.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you can see down here, at one time I was using a lighter blue, and then I've moved to that darker blue. But if I were to use that lighter blue, then, you know, we would be able to open that up and change those colors. That just happens for the title bar. So you can see I could, where it says custom, if I go to more colors, you can see the RGB for that lighter blue is used there. And then you can see the chip on the color palette. Okay? Anybody else with, and that's what I was mentioning, Jeff. Unfortunately, you see these color palettes, you know, throughout, and you've got to set them each time rather than one universal change. Anybody with any other questions about this? It's fairly straightforward. If you have any issues, you know, let me know and we can work on it. Let's jump now to PowerPoint Word. And I'm going to talk about tags today. And I suspect that if you start playing with these, you will require some help. I want you to notice that there is an extremely extensive list of VisionWorks tags, and these are all used currently in existing templates. We're on the VisionWorks tab now. Notice if we go to CorpWorks, there's a fairly extensive list of CorpWorks tags, and the same with TrustWorks. So what's the concept of a tag? Well, I think the easiest thing for me to do is just to click on a tag that I created for a principal party. So what I did was I clicked the Add button, typed in a name without the tilde at the beginning and the end. They're inserted automatically. It's sort of a code thing. So I just typed in the name VW_principal_party_1. Said it's a name or photo tag. From the list, I selected that it was for Principal Party 1, and that it was I selected the name option rather than the photo option, and that created a tag. It's the tag that I'm then able to insert into a PowerPoint presentation, a Word document, or an Excel spreadsheet. And the reason for the three is that they're all Microsoft products, and as such, they all will recognize the same tag. So you only need to create a tag once, and then you can use it in all three. So the concept of a tag is very simple. It instructs, let's say we're talking about a Word document, it instructs the Word document to populate a graph, a field, a table, whatever it might be, with the output from VisionWorks for that particular plan. So if we go down as an example and have a look at the net worth statement, you can see I created a tag VW net worth statement, and CS means for current solution. So if you'll notice over on the right, this tag is based on a report. It's just the net worth statement that's built in VisionWorks. So it's based on a report, and what I did was I went down and I selected the report that I wanted to use for this particular tag. So if we scroll through, we can see here that it's under net worth, so you can see values, net worth, income taxes. So it's under net worth, it's the net worth statement, and you can see I selected the current solution. That's what CS stands for. I have other tags in here that say OS, and they would stand for other solutions. So if we're comparing two solutions in the software, you know, there's the other one and then the current one, the active one. So that's how a tag is constructed. It's just a matter of clicking the Add button, giving it a name, selecting the type of tag it is, and then based on the type, making a specific selection, in this case, the net worth statement right out of the report. If I wanted to, for example, create a tag for income assets, then I could select this particular tag, which I created, VisionWorks Income Assets, and you'll notice it's based on a table or graph, just a standard table or graph that VisionWorks produces. And I can choose to make it joint or Principal Party 1 or Principal Party 2, actual dollars, today's dollars, from the current year to life expectancy. I made this life expectancy -1, so I didn't have all that estate noise in the final year of the plan. And then again, if we scroll down and have a look at all of this, we'll see that what I've included are income assets, the total income assets in the primary account. I could, for example, alternatively select all sub-series, and then I would have all the individual elements, non-registered portfolios, TFSAs, RSPs, etc., that would make up, you know, the income assets in total. So that's the general concept. Now, I realize that this is different to work with, and it does take, some practice to work with it. But what I wanted to do was just to show you a template that uses those tags already. So this is a template that we've already shipped to you, and we can go and have a look at it. So you can see it's got the Coastal Wealth logo in there. And then if I scroll down, what you'll see is that it has various tags. So I built this template to parallel a standard 3Cs report in VisionWorks. But you can see there's an intro graphic tag. Then if we scroll down, the plan parties tag, and if we keep going, the family tree tag, corporate details tag, etc. And if I just go down to the net worth statement so you can see how it works, then the net worth statement, the net worth tag that we were looking at is now inserted in this table. And so what will happen is when I run a VisionWorks plan, let's say the Smith's plan, it will populate this table with the net worth numbers for the Smiths. If I then switch to the Jones plan and run the template, it will be populated with the net worth data for the Jones plan. So let's have a look at VisionWorks, and we'll just see how this operates. So we'll run VisionWorks, and I'm going to open the sample plan, and I will just switch to a simpler solution. We won't bother with using the linked CorpWorks and TrustWorks plans. That just will take a little extra time to hook everything up. So now we're in the demo solution, and if I go to presentations and go to presentation mode, you can see the ability to do PowerPoint, Word, or Excel. Excel is not commonly available. It's a feature that we need to turn on. So if you want to create Excel templates and populate them, let me know and I can turn that feature on for you. So this is the demo 4. Notice the other solution is the initial vision, but I could choose any number here. And the main solution itself, the demo 4. So here, I would insert a PowerPoint template, but what we'll do today is we'll select Word, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a Word template. So I've just got to go and locate those. So for VisionWorks under Word documents, I have a basic Word template. So I'm just going to open it. And then notice if I were using a template that did have output for a CorpWorks or a TrustWorks plan, I would just need to select these check boxes and then select a particular CorpWorks or TrustWorks plan and solution. But I'm going to leave these deselected. So all I need to do now is, having selected the template, I just need to run Word, and what will happen is that all the data from this particular plan, the Smith's plan, will populate the template. And then we'll talk more about creating your own custom plans and reorganizing things. So generally speaking, we already have built a considerable number of tags. I think in Presentation Builder, you should pretty much be able to find anything that you would want. And I think the basic plans that we built will use pretty well anything that you would want. So I'm not sure that you necessarily need to go in and start creating your own tags. That might be a bit of a leap. But what I think you can do is I think you can take the templates that we've built and delete the pages that you may not want, reorganize the order of things to the order that you want, and so on. We'll look at that in a couple of minutes after we've done this. But I think taking what we've already supplied and then just massaging it would be the most effective thing to do. There is some fiddling around with different tables, etc., when it comes to getting the formatting kind of set up attractively. So again, I think copying and pasting is going to be more effective than you playing necessarily with creating your own tags and tables. While this populates, it does take a bit of time to run it. Does anybody have any questions so far? I know this is different stuff. Remember, the same tag can be used in PowerPoint, Word, or Excel. They're all Microsoft products. So that is one thing that makes things a lot easier. So here we are. We've populated the report using the Smith's data. So I'm just going to go up to the beginning, and you can see this is the same coastal wealth report that we were looking at. Let me get rid of all the paragraph markers and so on, so it's a little cleaner. And then let me see if I can change the view size a little bit. Let me just cut that down a bit so we can see the pages. So if we go down, for example, you can see the table of contents. It's built on its own. And I want you to notice that if you do make changes, then all you need to do is click Update Table, and this will all be reorganized and properly updated. So let's scroll down and have a look at some of these things. So first of all, if we look at the introduction, remember I showed you that graphic tag. So now that graphic is being populated. And I also want you to notice that when it comes to things like introduction, or let's scroll down a little bit, parties, and then the subheading, that if we have a look under home, I'm just going to get this bar out of my way here. If we have a look at home, then you can see that this particular tag is actually using heading 1. And heading 1 is being formatted to be 20-point, calibri, the color, et cetera, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. This has been formatted as heading 2. So again, all of that has been built in, and the purpose of formatting heading 1, heading 2, whatever it might be, is so that if we go back to the table of contents, you can see that we would have the heading 1 as parties, the heading 2 as parties, and a family tree would also be in a heading 2. So that's what causes the table of contents to be all properly organized, is how we've classed these different titles, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, or just basic text. There's a question, so if you'll just bear with me, let me go to the chat window. Can you make it bigger so it's easier to see? Sure, I was trying to get all of a page in at once, but if you want, I can go to a larger size. Not sure that 200 will serve any particular purpose. It may be just something on your monitor that you might have to change, increase the window size. So let's go down and have a look. So you remember we looked at that net worth statement. So if we scroll down, you can see the financial starting point, the net worth statement. So here it's being populated. And I used slightly different format to create pie graphs, assets and liabilities for the net worth statement. So if I'm dealing with the Smith's plan, the net worth statement is going to populate. If I'm dealing with the Jones, it'll be the Jones data from the Jones plan and so on. And again, this is where you can go in and you can control the colors of the title bars and, you know, the colors that are used in the lines and within the graph. You might not want lines at all. For instance, you might only want horizontal lines. So all of that formatting can be done. So the point that I would make is that we've done all of these. There are a wide range of you know, different tables, et cetera, that have already been done. And my recommendation, you can see the tax rate graphs and so on. So my cash sources table with the cash sources graph. So my recommendation to you, rather than trying to do any of this from the ground up, would be to open the basic template. So let me go back and open that up. And then, for example, if I wanted the net worth statement in some other location in the report, I would just select all of that. Let's go up here and we'll just insert a page here. And then all I would need to do is move that to the location where I want it and you know, have the whole report kind of organized the way I want, and not really need to deal with creating tables or graphs and adding tags. If you want to get into that, you know, it's likely that you'll need some help with it, and I'll be happy to do that. But otherwise, I think just moving things around to getting so that they're organized in the flow that you want would be to take our template and then just, you know, move things around. The other thing that I want to, yes,
sorry,
go ahead.
I was going to say, if we move that, Michael, does the table of contents automatically update?
Yes, exactly. So good point. So I'm not sure what page we're on here, page 14 it looks like. So now, yes, exactly. So now, if I go down here to, and you can see the net worth statement was on page 17. So because I have those heading 1 and heading 2 with the tags built in the background, for those, or the formatting built into the background for those, if I now go to the table of contents and do an update, it's going to rebuild the table so that, sorry, I want to scroll down, so that you can see now the financial starting point net worth is on page 14. And we still actually have it on now page 18 because we actually added a page. So all the pages adjust accordingly, et cetera, et cetera. So it's because, you know, we had heading 1, we had heading 2, for instance, that when we copy something and copy those and then just update the table of contents, so everything gets all updated. You can see that. Is that clear, Jeff?
Yep, that's great. Thanks, Michael.
Okay. Now, you had asked earlier about, you know, colors and formatting and all the rest of that stuff. So I'm going to run through this, and it's a little bit tricky. But what we've created, and they are separate for PowerPoint and for Word, for example, is we've created what are called add-ins. And what I want to do is, maybe I'll just run a separate version of VisionWorks, actually. We'll open up a different file. what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to presentations, and I want you to notice on the PowerPoint tab, there's an install button for the PowerPoint add-in and also a set of instructions. If I go to Word, there's an install button for the Word add-in and also a set of instructions. So if you click this, it will run through exactly how to use these add-ins. And the add-ins are designed to allow you to brand the Word document or the PowerPoint report or whatever the case might be. So if I open Word, what you'll see on the menu bar is a Vision Systems Corp tab. That's the add-in. And the whole issue with using these tags and tables throughout a report is the ability to go in and format them. Now, you could go in, you could select a table, right-click on it, go to Table Properties, decide whether you want any shading or any lines or anything that you would want to put in for customizing the look and feel for branding. But you would literally be doing that table by table by table, which is rather painful. So what you can do instead, and the instructions show you how to do this, is you go to the add-in, you would click New to create your add-in, and you would be given an opportunity to give it a name. And you can see I've got the Coastal Wealth add-in. Now what I'm able to do is I'm able to say, okay, I want to format the look and feel of common elements throughout the whole document. So you can see, for example, header font, footer font, heading 1 font. So what I'm able to do now is I'm able to say, okay, and I can never remember, but I think for RGB 255, it's either white or it's black. 0 is white, 255 is black, or it's the other way around. The instructions, by the way, will tell you how that's set up. But what I could do is I could go in and say, for example, okay, my colors that I want to use are 0, 64, these are the dark blue colors that I'm applying, and 148. So then what I'm able to do is I'm able to say, okay, I want to apply this color set, let's say to heading 1, and I want the heading 1 font to be Calibri. So I just select it here. Let's say I want it to be 20 point for heading 1. And then I can choose to make it bold or italicized or underlined, whatever. And then I can also choose points before and points after. So I might want 0 for points before, and I might want something like 12 for points after. So I've set my colors, my font, my point size, points before and after, and then all I need to do is click heading 1 font. And what VisionWorks, or what will happen is that the add-in will go through the entire document, locate all heading 1s, and update to the settings that I've used. And then, for example, I might say, well, for heading 2, so then I could leave the colors the same, but I might want to make that, let's just say 14 point. And again, maybe I want points before and after 0 and 12. So I just change things and then click heading 2, and it'll go through and change all the heading 2 labels. And then I can do other things like the body font. Maybe I want it black, so again, whether that's 000 or 255, 255, 255, I don't remember. You can see I've actually made that body font the same blue, but I could go through, make it black, make it Calibri 12 or whatever font or point size I want to use. So by using the add-in, I'm able to set my desired parameters for the different elements, and then just simply click on the element, and the add-in will go through and update everything. And so you can see there are things like the header fill. So this is where I can just put in the color I want for header fill, and then I'll just click all head fill. It'll go through, update everything. I can do the same thing with all the body font. Maybe I wanted Arial 10 black. It'll do all of that. Table borders, so this is where I could change the table borders if I wished, and so on. So the idea of an add-in, and again it's in those instructions, is that you can design your settings or create your own add-in, design your settings, and then apply them to an element, make changes here, apply them to a different element, and so on. And it just makes things considerably more efficient than going in and applying formatting table by table, which would take a considerable amount of time. So just to recap, we've got the tags in Presentation Builder. You can create your own tags if there are output elements that we have not done a tag for. I think you'll find in Presentation Builder that there is a very extensive array of tags, more than sufficient for most reports. You could take a Word document and start to add tables and add tags to the tables, or graphs and add tags to the graphs. You could do all of that. My recommendation is that you take the existing templates that we have, run one in VisionWorks as we did before, populate the report to see what's available, and then what I would do personally is I would just bring up the template, and as we just did with net worth, I would just move things around so that everything is positioned where I want it. And the reason I feel that way is that in doing these, there is some formatting that needs to be done and played with, and it can get a little bit tedious. But you'll see, for example, net worth, there's a category heading, like homes. Then there's the specific listed assets, 6 Hour Street, and then the value for Bill, the value for Sue, and the value for total. So you can see the different column widths so that everything fits nicely on the page. So that requires a bit of playing around. So questions? Anyone? Jeff, how about you? We've had some good questions. Do you have one on this?
Nothing on this. That's excellent, Michael. Thank you.
Okay. It's just a matter of getting hands-on and playing around with it. There's nothing else that can be said about it. By the way, once I set up the template, the settings template, Coastal Wealth, I could then open, let's say, a CorpWorks report, and all I would have to do is select the Coastal Wealth in the templates list, and then just click Apply the Settings template, and it'll go through and take a CorpWorks report and totally apply all the elements that we've used, let's say, in this VisionWorks report. So same idea. If I've opened this template, which is more the full meal deal type plan. We have other templates. Let me go back and I'll just show you. But we have other templates. Here you can see a CorpWorks basic template, a retirement assessment template, a retirement and estate assessment template, a TrustWorks template, a VisionWorks, CorpWorks plus TrustWorks template, you know, everything in one plan. So we've got a number of different templates. Once you've got the add-in set up the way you want it, all you need to do is open any template and then just click Apply Settings, and that template will then be updated to all your color sets. So going through setting this up once, applying it to, you know, a template, you can then apply it to other templates, and it's you know, quite easy to do.
Michael,
Yes.
It's Grant, and I was just wondering, when you're doing a combined VisionWorks, CorpWorks, TrustWorks template that you just showed, where is that going to be initiated from? Any one of the applications, or?
No, it would the VisionWorks, CorpWorks, TrustWorks is really the VisionWorks plan, and then it has CorpWorks and TrustWorks data in it, not the CorpWorks plan proper, you know, how do we arrive at the dividend payments or whatever it might be, but more the impact on the individual. So the VisionWorks, CorpWorks, TrustWorks plan, it shows the dividends that are going to be received, the corporate structure, there's a total map. So even though it's the VisionWorks plan, you can produce the total map that shows everything, all the VisionWorks parties, the corporations, you know, the trusts. Obviously, the more involved, the more, you know, busy a total map would be. But it's really more designed to say what's the impact of the corporation, you know, personally. And then if you want, you can dive into, you know, the corporate stuff by doing a separate CorpWorks plan.
Okay, thank you.
I'm more of a believer in, you know, CorpWorks and TrustWorks are there for us to, you know, crunch the numbers and get them accurate. But more than anything, it's what's the impact on the individual. Now, the plan you're working on, which is, you know, fairly involved, that may be something where you want to produce, you know, some output just to indicate to the client that all of that's being taken, you know, it's all taken care of, right? Everything's in there.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else with any questions? So if you get into this, I have no doubt that you'll need some help on it, and please, you know, feel free to get in touch. But again, my recommendation is that you take a kick at the can doing an add-in. It'll just make formatting everything so much more efficient, and that more than anything, you take the VisionWorks plan, maybe the CorpWorks, VisionWorks, TrustWorks, you populate it out of VisionWorks to see what's involved, see the order of things, etc. And then you take the template and you start moving things around. By the way, I would not overwrite the templates that we've provided. What I would do is take our template, move things around, but what I would do is I would do a save as and then name that template you know, grants, VW, CW, and TW template, so that you keep the template we sent, because you may go in with your template and choose to remove a lot of content, and then at some time in the future, you may say, oh, well, maybe I want that particular table or graph. So then you could go back to our template and locate it and then add it into your template. Whereas if you delete things and then overwrite our template, then you're going to lose them. And, you know, we'd have to send you a new template or whatever. So I think it's easier just to save it in, you know, massage things and then save it in your own name.
Michael, if we create
Yes.
our own templates, do those get overwritten in an update, or are they kept separate?
No, they're totally your template. They're totally separate. So you can see, even though we're doing releases, all of these templates are still there. Nothing's changed to them, right?
Yeah, wouldn't that be a risk of us modifying the original templates as well, in that in an update those templates could be overwritten with new material?
No, we don't mess with the templates. And if you save your template, that's your template. We mess with the software and the output and the calculations or add new features or whatever we do. But the templates, you know, they're absolutely yours. Anything. You'll notice it's you know, your PC documents, vision systems, and then Word documents, or maybe it's you know, VisionWorks backup files, or you know, anything like that. They're in that documents folder, and that's not touched in any kind of an update. When we get into updates, just so you see, if I go to the C drive on my computer, users, and this, instead of owner, it might be your name, for instance, app data local, this is where you'll find all the VisionWorks files. So you can see these are all the kind of files that are used to build reports or the executable or do whatever. So when we ever do updates, we're replacing the executable or the data, the entries data base or whatever it might be, or sometimes a French language, you know, basic text template or whatever it might be. We may be replacing files here, but we're never going into the documents, vision systems folder. That's where your client files are, where you've saved, you know, your settings template, for instance, right? So we're not touching those ever. Anybody else with any questions? Okay, well, thank you again for your time, and if you start to get into this, and if I can be of any help, please let me know. It's you should be able to get the look and feel that you want. Just a matter of going in and, you know, working away with it.
Okay. Thank you, Michael.
Okay. All right, thank you again for your time. And oh, there is a chat question here. Let me see. Will this be posted to the? Yes, it'll be on YouTube. So thank you again for your time, and I wish you a good weekend. Thanks.
You as well.